Oh, hello there, everyone, and welcome to episode number 93 of FinalBossTV, your WoW and Stream Radio Show. My name is Adam KKB, and I'll be your host this evening for episode 2 of 8 of our Warlords of Ketchup Junket series, where we're catching up with classes and specs for all the different realms of World of Warcraft, for tier 18 nonsense and the ring meta shenanigans and set bonus tomfoolery and awkward tips and tricks for Hellfire Citadel, because, well, we're gonna be in here for a while, so buckle in. But today I'm joined with 3 ranged casters that are petless versions of their other 3 counterparts, even though I think Shadow Priest could argue that they're kind of a pet class now, because that's what they wanted. Yes. But our guest today then, and let's see if Val can correct me on that. There's Val. Hello, sir. How you doing?
Hello. Very good.
So are you a pet class?
Pet class temporarily. At least when I press my button for Mindbender, Shadow Fiend, I'm temporarily. Yes.
Temporary a pet class.
Yes.
All right. Did you want that though? Is that what you always wanted?
No, actually not. I want my strong mind play, my strong dots, and a wayward cop. So that's what we're hoping for.
Well, I think we'll get into that a little more in the show shortly.
For sure.
We will. Indeed. Returning to us with apparently no hair, there's Bologna. Hello, sir.
Hi there.
Hi. Even though that 5 o'clock shadow, though, was just like...
Thank you.
Which is apparently a real 5 o'clock shadow. You shaved yesterday, you told me, and this is just one night.
I think I might just be lying to everyone. Maybe I just shaved it down to this length just for...
Oh.
And I would argue that we're the real pet class now, because 4 fairy dragons at all times.
But you're not a pet class by choice. You're just kind of like herding cats that have wings, basically.
It's there and they do stuff.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
I don't think you have a choice in the matter. They just kind of show up.
Yeah.
They do indeed. And then sort of a pseudo pet class too, I guess, now I'm thinking about it. There's Micro. Hello, sir. How you doing?
Hello, boys. Thanks for having me tonight.
I mean, we have an elemental, but he just kind of does his own damn thing. He's not really a pet.
Earthquake. Earthquake.
Earthquake.
It's my pet.
Is Earthquake a pet? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You have to... I guess you could consider that a pet, yeah? That's what you wanted though, right? You wanted Earthquake back as elemental.
Definitely.
Ugh, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Oh boy. But thank you all for joining me today to talk about all this stuffs. Again, with the Warlords Ketchup series, it's going to be a lot of stuff before the break, and then after the break, it'll be basically a built-in Q&A with chat room. So if you have questions for our guests, please hold them until the after-show part starts during the main show, whatever it is, the live Q&A. So hold them for there. But I'll go back around again here, because this is Val's first time on the show. Same thing with Micro, if you guys want to plug some stuffs and where you come from on the internet and why people should care about what the hell you're about to sell to them. So, Val, hi, go for it.
Why people should care about what I say? Well...
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I do have coming up on 8 years of experience as Shadow, and fun half of those are in Method, most recently. Currently, I'm in Vanguard. I've been so since March, start of March. Primarily because my time constraint of university, so had to cut my time there. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, so you have some time on Shadow Priest at a high level, just a little bit?
Some time, yeah.
Just a little bit. Fair enough. Bologna, sir? You want to reintroduce yourself to the audience who may not have known about you from previous episodes?
Hi. I'm Bologna. I'm currently trialing for Midwinter. It's a very, very fun process, a great group of guys. I'm really happy to be spending my time with them. Part
of the trial process I've heard is that you have to rub Ted's head at BlizzCon this year. Can you do that?
I think I did that last year, so I think I have an edge on all the other trials.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Very good. You've been playing Boomkin for how long again, though?
Like, I've been getting better at it since Dragon Soul.
Oh, I like the phrasing of that. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Been getting better at it since Dragon Soul. All right. And Micro, new to the show also, sir? How long have you been playing Elemental Shaman?
This might come out pretty surprisingly, but I really started in the middle of Heimal, playing Elemental Shaman.
Oh. Okay.
In the previous expansions, I've played DK, I've played my mage, and a bit of Holy Paladin, which is now my main alt. But this expansion, and as well I joined Nihilum. I really wanted to ramp up my raiding scene quite a bit. I've been pretty casual before in the previous expansions, but now I decided to go fresh start, fresh class, new guild. Yeah.
Awesome. Fair enough. And you said you're also working on an Elemental Shaman Google document guide too that'll be available sometime in the future?
Yeah, definitely, as well as a video. I've gotten quite a few requests of Elemental Shaman guides, as well as on my stream, people keep coming on me and asking the same questions over and over. So why not just make a guide so I can
very nice.
Redirect them.
Absolutely. Well, once you get that out and about, let me have that, and I'll get it linked in chat. So, and as a caveat to that, if you guys want to know all the different chat commands and then have a awesome channel guide, just type !guide in our Twitch chat going forward, of course. So, when last we spoke, there were some different things happening for all the specs on the show today. And some of them were before Tier 18, some of them before the ring shenanigans. So, I'll go with Shadow Priest first. What has changed with Hellfire Citadel with your Tier 18 bonuses, like your gearing and gemming goals? And you can even bring this up into the 6.2.2 things in the future, because what's going to continue to change for Shadow Priest, Val?
So basically, gearing-wise, it's the crit, small crit, and then some extra crit. Gear, sockets, whatever. And then we kind of want some haste as well, because haste is decent for us, but yeah, we want the crit. But about the bonuses, we have this constant pet, permanent pet, whatever you want to call it, with the Mindbender.
Right.
And we have, what, 8 seconds downtime on Shadow Fiend. Yeah, 8 seconds downtime. That's the 2-part. Then we have the 4-piece, which is the multi-strike, which is just static increase all the time, pretty much. When you have 5-second downtime, so that's what, 75% uptime when you use Mindbender. So it's a decent one.
Now, are you always taking Mindbender now in your 45 talents because of the set bonus, or?
Not all the time. Some fights have some merit for using Insanity, and also depending on your setup. Just last week I had to spec Insanity for Soul because we were lacking damage on the imps, so had to bring out the big Searing Insanity for that.
Ah, for Manaroth, Mythic?
No, for the imps on Zul'Harrak.
Oh, imps on Zul'Harrak. Oh,
yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
fair enough.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But just Mindbender or Insanity then? Surge of Darkness is a thing of the past?
Surge of Darkness is not a thing anymore.
Oh, just not a thing anymore.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. So you said for crit and then a little bit of haste. So what stats are dead for Shadow Priest then? Everything else?
Mastery, unless you're playing COP single target. Like, you can... Like, it's a legit thing to have a full set of Mastery gear with the Master Trinket from Council and the class Trinket for Fellord, but that's about it. Otherwise, you don't want to see that Master in your gear.
That's... I mean, there's always some, like, outlier for a class, but... Is that changing a lot, though, with the 6.2.2 changes coming on the horizon here?
Not really. Like, it bumps Mastery up a bit for, what's it called? For Auspicious Spirits, but that's about it. You're still not gonna take Mastery gear over crit gear. Like, you still want a lot of crit and a lot of haste, because those are the 2 primary stats for Auspicious Spirits.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But you're not going to have any, like, major talent change, though? You're probably still going to run Auspicious Spirits even with the 6.2.2 buffs? Or will Clarity of Power make its way back onto the field?
Clarity of Power is going to be more viable in the fights that it would be viable on now. Like, it could be used, and let's see, Iron Reaver. It's a pretty legit fight for it, especially after the buffs. You could argue you could use it on... whatever was it, Chrome Rock? I think you pronounce
Corn
it.
Corn Dog. Yeah.
Corn Dog. Okay,
yes,
so
yes,
you'll probably use it on Corn Dog as well. Fellord as well. I haven't done Mythic Archimon progress yet, but I could see some merit to bursting down the ass if you lag it, like depending on your setup. But yeah, mostly it's an Auspicious Spirits fight, but depending on your setup, you could go for COP for that as well.
Okay. So some things in flux, but not a ton.
No.
It seems not a ton. Any weird little tricks before I move on to the next class that you could suggest for HFC shenanigans to your fellow Shadow Priests?
We can start. We have a few tricks. Corn dog. It's actually kind of tricky if you're not used to it, because you can use Halo on that fight for the hands, but the thing is you have to cast it before the hands actually spawn. There's some weird mechanic with this, how they spawn and stuff.
And then
So
run in?
when the timer hits, like you stand out, then when the timer ends for Dragon Hands, you cast Halo, then you like run in with Body and Soul, or you grip yourself in, and then your screen explodes if you have those numbers on. Because logic, I guess.
No way.
It happens, but I don't see how they fucked it up like that, but it works.
Interesting.
Iskar, you can guise the Fel Chakram, so you pretty much have the best cooldown on the fight there. You mitigate, what, 2.4 million damage or something like that? So that's pretty big. On Soul Horror, it's pretty boring, I guess. You can guise the Fel Chains if you're targeted by it. If you have a fancy weak order that tells you you're targeted by it, you can guise it. Pretty good. Tyrant, you can use Phantasm. That's actually one of the single fights where that talent has a merit to be used. Phantasm works, and the slower you get when you get the Addict. That's pretty good when you have to run out with it. Pretty damn good. And also you can guise the Annihilation Strike, whatever it's called. It's pretty big as well. Hunters can't feign death it, so take that, Hunters. I think that's about it. Tips and tricks. Obvious one is Disperse, the Shadowfell Burst, and Archimonde. Like, no need to soak that, but yeah.
You're supposed before you fall down for the fall damage, it won't hurt you. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does not.
So. Well, that's a lot more than I was expecting, honestly. I didn't know that. I think we've tried with Hunters like full feign deathing the Annihilation Strike on Mythic Velhari, but it still sometimes doesn't work and sometimes it does. But
I just haven't had any luck with it, at least.
Yeah.
So.
But you can just guise it completely, and she just stops targeting you. She's like, "Where'd you go?" Yeah, that works. Cool.
Works pretty good.
I like it. All right. Moonkin time, Bologna. So, how has things changed for Balanced Druids in Tier 18? Anything crazy of note with your gearing focus or weapon choices, enchanting, gebbing, and stuff like that? And then your Tier 18 bonus thoughts, your flying kitty corralling.
We'll start with stats. Stats have remained relatively unchanged since High Maul. Mostly, Mastery is still king. Obviously, go for the highest item level piece of gear, and it's pretty big for us. And then Mastery, and then after that, Haste has crept up on the ladder of stats. I would consider Crit and Haste to be pretty equal, and the only reason for that is because Fairy Dragons scale off of Haste so well. If you have a decent amount of haste, they can do up to like 15% of your damage just passively.
They attack faster with more haste? Take it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I don't know. What came after stats? Yeah, dead stats are like, versatility is pretty dead. Multi-strike's not that bad. I mean, shy away from it, but it's really not that bad.
Fair enough. Your gearing focus, though, like gems and enchants, stuff like that, so you're just so
Yeah, just Mastery. Yep, Mastery, Weapon, Enchant.
Fair enough. Have you seen any changes with your Tier 18 bonuses, like that have changed like your talent layouts at all at that, or are you still running the same thing regardless of? Because you just get free Starfall and then you get Fairy Dragons, so not really anything impacts your choices, do they?
Yeah, the free Starfall is the trinket thing.
Trinket, sorry.
Yeah, and I have a lot to talk about the trinkets because that's
hold that for the trinket part.
Yeah, for sure. But as far as set bonuses go. Our set bonuses in Tier 17 were really amazing. They broke game mechanics, right? Like being able to solo every third Blackhand balcony, or having CA up for every set of pillars and hands on Chromog. That's pretty big, right? Like that's, I think on Flamebender our 4-piece was like a 20-something K DPS increase.
That's a little bit, just a little bit of DPS.
Yeah, and now both of our tier bonuses are just passive, and there's almost no gameplay around them. You have 100% uptime on Fairy Dragons and the 6% buff they give you, so it's kind of boring, but after last year's set bonus, I don't know how much we can complain.
Do you feel like there was too big of a change between that? Because sometimes, I mean, I guess that you kind of have to combine the Archimon Trinket in some regard with the tier 18 sets. Like, I know, like I have to as enhancement. But I didn't know, do you feel like you had like your crazy fun set back in tier 17 and now you just kind of like, yeah, there's a fairy dragon over there?
I feel like it was completely intentional on the devs' part. They said, hey, we gave them a really interactive 4-piece last tier. We're going to give them a really boring passive 4-piece this tier.
Oh, goodness. Fair enough. So you didn't really see any like changes in your talent layouts though? Are you just running? Is it still Euphoria for everything, or Balance of Power for everything?
Yeah,
or
it's still Euphoria Incarnation for everything. Incarnation mostly because just burst damage is always good. You're always gonna have a part of the fight like Archimon. You're just gonna blow Incarnation on Infernals, but it's also because of the ring.
Yep.
So
having a cooldown is important. Sure.
Yeah, stacking cooldowns is really good.
Right. Exactly.
You could run Balance of Power for Hellfire High Council and you'd be fine. And if you didn't have a ring, you could run Soul of the Forest for like Fel Lord, or Chrome Rock, Horn Dog, whatever.
It doesn't seem like a ton has changed for your talent layout though at all.
No, it's a lot of our talent changes actually came in for the random talent tiers, believe it or not. I use Fairy Swarm for like half of the fights this tier.
Pardon me.
Yeah. I know, right? It's crazy. Yeah. Well, like Heroic Archimon being able to Fairy Swarm every one of the little ads that comes out of the Nether portals. That's really good. Or like slowing all of the constructs on Gorefriend.
Gorefriend.
Yeah, he's our friend.
I like it.
He's just a little overweight. He has a glandular problem.
Okay. He does. He definitely does. He does.
Sure. He has small feet.
He does, and that's also true. That's so weird. All right, Micro, what about you, man? For Elemental Shaman, how has things changed in tier 18 for Earthquake Caster?
Earthquake Caster. Well, yeah, basically the stat priority is still the same. Now after the what was it, 6.2 buff, would they buff the mastery, or was it a hotfix? I can't really remember.
It's already in the game right now. It's probably hotfix. I don't think it's coming in the next patch. Yeah.
No, yeah, it already came, but I can't really remember how long ago it was. But yeah, back to the stat priority, it's still the same. We need the multi-strike and haste. Yeah, basically just go with as much multi-strike as you can get, and then haste. But as third stat, we like crit and mastery. They seem about the same now after the buff. So. Okay. So yeah, that's a pretty big deal, especially with the council trinket.
Right.
But yeah, and also the weapon enchant. Nowadays we have a lot of base multi-strike already, so we will benefit more enchanting haste on the weapon instead of enchanting multi-strike, because of both burst and that we already have a high percentage base multi-strike. So that's quite a big difference, I would say.
You're not running into like haste caps at all with like casting on the GCD yet with like lightning bolts or lava bursts. It's like you're not too fast yet to value it.
I'm not running, like I'm almost at the haste cap when I have my 4-piece up, which is when you cast 24 fulmination stacks, you would get a 20%, or is it 15? No, yeah, it's 20. 20% haste buff that decreases over time, over 15 seconds. And yeah, so of course the 2-set bonus, which is you have a 60% chance of not proccing the cooldown of Earthshock, and you will still remain the fulmination stacks. But as far as changes go, we of course the tier bonuses are like quite a big deal. You want to maintain that 4-set as much as possible, and like it's somewhat RNG based with the 2-set. If you proc, like for example on pull, if you have a 12 stacks on pull and you proc the 2-set, you would cast it again, and that would be 24 stacks, 12 plus 12. So you would be proccing your 4-set on pull if you would have that RNG, if you cast the Earthshock on 12.
Yeah, that was my next question. How how much RNG has become of the Earthshock spam minigame with Elemental Shaman? Is it that random, or has it worked out to be kind of smooth, or have you gone with like 5 Earthshocks in a row before yet? Like, how is that?
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes you can have like crazy shenanigans up to 8-9 times, you know. But like as far as it comes to your DPS, it's not really that RNG based, really. I would say, yeah, definitely on burst. With ring, it's quite a big deal if you get the 2-set proc more than once, you know, 2-3 times. You will blow up with the ring and stuff, way more higher. But on single target, it's not really a major difference. However, when you target swap, that's where the real difference comes in RNG. Yeah, as many of you know, shamans, elemental shamans, that is, we are not really that great at swapping targets.
Right.
We have to kind of build up our damage over time. So if there's something that needs to die really quick, for example, on Arkham on the phase 3 on the Mythic, we have this Void Star spawning, and like in reality, I wouldn't be able to do anything on them if I would have to build up with Flame Shock, Lava Burst, and whatnot. So that takes me down to only casting Lava Burst without, without dotting it up first, which is a 50% decrease already. But if my 2-set procs, I can actually do like really good damage on them. So it differs from pull to pull how good damage I will do on target swapping. That is, I don't know, something that's alive for less than 5 seconds.
Right. So that's sort of this weird realm that kind of leads us into a more generalized topic right now with kind of how, I mean, is it a skill cap or like an opportunistic area where from pull to pull, not only is our DPS variance right now, just as a DPS class in general, so varied, but that can impact progress and learning an encounter. Like if you or other classes don't have the same opportunities to burst or do the right kind of damage on certain fights, like it changes kill times. That's kind of a weird situation to feel. I don't know what the best way to, like, it averages out over the course of multiple pulls, but like I said, if you don't get your Earthshock procs on the Void Stars, do you just...
Yeah, but that's really the only thing that differs. On pure single target, it's not really a major difference.
Sure.
But when it comes down to things you need to nuke down fast, either I do 0 damage or I do like a lot.
So. Dude, does the Shadow Priest have a similar situation with that, like the target swapping issue? I mean, you just have to like recast dots, I guess, right?
Well, it depends on the situation. Like if you have to nuke a target down fast, but you already have a lot of targets up for like a long time, so you have like 10 Shadow Pins out or so, you can dump a lot of DPs into that target, and that helps a lot, of course. But if it's just like you have your main target, maybe 1-2 other ads, like depending on how long they live, you would either just Mind Spike it down, Mind Blast, Mind Spike it down for the burst, or you would do a full dot rotation and then like do DPs into it as well.
And Bologna, you would just spam Moonfire, right?
No. Depending on the ad, something like Gorfian Constructs or the stars in Phase 3 of Archimond, I would actually just make sure it's the trigger word of the tier for Midwinter, pool. You got to pool as many Star Surge procs as you can. Make sure you got Starfall going into it, and then just like, it's actually not a bad idea just to dump all of your Star Surge charges. It's a total waste of single target DPS, but I mean, when those ads have to die, like Essences on Gorefiend, you know,
right?
It's better to just to kill them.
No, it is a thing. You hear that buzzword a lot in some kill videos for like the last like 2 bosses, really. You hear that, like, you know, waiting for the ad to spawn, waiting for the Doomfire Spirit to spawn. So pool your resources, pool your focus. Yeah, because you need to kill them immediately, right? So you can't just keep rolling your normal rotation, because then you're like have to play catch up. And if everyone's on the same page for that, then you'll poop on it. But if you're not, you can notice a difference. And again, that's like kind of the RNG-ness nature of like DPS right now. Like, what if you, on like 10 pulls in a row, the Doomfire Spirit dies in 7 seconds, but then on some pulls, for some reason, it's starting to die like 9, 10 seconds. That changes a lot. More patches of Doomfire, more to soak for your soakers, more to heal for the one healer dedicated to that hunter or whatever you have soaking. It changes a lot. And is that okay? Is that like just play around it? Is that frustrating as DPS? I don't know. I'm like cringing a little bit because it's so
those
annoying.
niche specs. you know?
Yeah. Did you ever experience any of that stuff so far? Any of you with like pull to pull, like obnoxious RNG that you just can't do what you just did the last pull before?
Especially after getting the ring and playing Auspicious Spirits, having to like hope to get that third orb for like the ring proc to actually have it. That extra damage going into the ring is you just cross your fingers and pray.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it.
But it happens though.
It happens. Sometimes you get 5 orbs in a duration. Sometimes you get 2. It's not good, man. It's not good.
I think that the funny part that you can notice on farm now with like Mythic Gorefiend, like you'll notice like your first burn sometimes is like 4 to 6% off, and then like the next pull, like after if you wipe, you pull it again, and you're like 10% ahead of your last one. There's like this huge swinging variance right now in how DPS is. I don't know if they'll fix any of that in Legion, but we'll have to see. We have a lot of awkwardness, I think, in the DPS department. But so to put this aside for the ranged caster situation now with you guys, this is a whole. How is the Archimon Trinket working out for each of you? And is it kind of a set it and forget it thing, or do you take it on and put it off, or put it on and take it off for certain fights? I'll go with Shadow Priest stuff first with you, Val.
I kind of hate the Trinket, but okay. Here's the thing: the Shadow Trinket compared to the Warlock Trinket for destruction. Like I would rather have the Shadow Trinket than the Warlock Trinket then, because they kind of work the same way. But for Shadow, it's Mind Flay ticks. For the Destruction Warlocks, it's Incinerate hits. So Incinerate has travel time. Mind Flay doesn't. So I would rather have the consistency of Mind Flay, applying it constantly to the target, than Incinerate, and you have to like pray that the boss doesn't move out of range, and like it gets delayed because you're trying to min-max the stacks and time, and you drop it. I've done it on my ult a few times, but yeah, that's about it. Yeah, you pretty much only use it for one fight right now, at least until the patch, and that's Hellfire.
One fight?
Yeah, it's sad.
Now is that so? It's weird for me coming in from an enhancement point of view, at least from a melee. Like I have my Trinket on like almost all the time. Almost it feels like the band-aid I needed to make Wind Fury not be awful and have Maelstrom Weapon proc much more often to like have an impact on Lightning Bolt. But it feels weird. I guess not every class or spec has their Archimon Trinket all the time. So you've only ever used it on Fellord?
Pretty much. I did some trying on Iron Reaver in the start, like the first week, just for the fun of it after I got it. But it's just not worth it. Like.
What about you, Bologna? How's the Moonkin Trinket?
It's beautiful. It's amazing. Well, so they designed Moonkins this expansion with the idea of a charge system, right? You have a choice between casting Star Surge and Starfall on a charge system. So you get to choose between single target and cleave. And the Archimon Trinket just says, why not both? Like, so every time I Star Surge, I get a proc of Starfall, and it's a huge, like, you're going to cast Starfall anyway on something like Zul'Harrak or Manaroth. You're going to cast Starfall anyways to make sure that the imps die, right, in both fights. So, like, you're going to hit Starfall anyway. Now you get to hit Star Surge on Omnis or whatever. You get to hit Star Surge on, you know, the Deathcaller or whatever, the big ad, or the Doomlord on Manaroth. So you gain a whole lot of single target damage that you would have otherwise been wasting on Starfall.
Is the version of Starfall that comes out of the Archimon Trinket the same as if you just cast it?
Yeah.
Yep. You can't have... What if you cast a Star Surge to proc the Starfall and then you recast Starfall? It just refreshes the duration? They
actually kind of tweaked. They give us like a mini quality of life thing.
Okay.
It's not the pandemic effect is the one that like, you know, adds 50% of the duration to a dot or whatever. Am I crazy in thinking that? It's called Pandemic.
Pandemic? No, up to 30% of the max duration. Yes.
Yeah, okay. So we kind of got something like that for Starfall. I think it goes up to 12 or 13 seconds, so about 30%.
So if you have a Starfall roll in that you cast, and then you cast a Star Surge, your Trinket will just add the duration to your current one?
Yeah, it'll go up to 12 or 13 seconds, one of those. And like it's not completely wasted is the thing. If you overwrite Starfall procs, it's not completely wasted.
Okay. But I guess there's probably a min-max in there that you don't want to like just
you
don't want to recast it too soon because you lose like half the benefit of.
For sure. Something like I found a lot of times on Heroic Archimond, there's this, you're going to be clipping stuff at, no matter how you, like, you're just always going to be clipping stuff. Either you're clipping Lunar Empowerment or Solar Empowerment procs, or you're going to be clipping Starfall duration. So on something like Heroic Archimond in Phase 2.5, I found myself dotting all the ads, or even on Mythic Archimond, I found myself dotting all the ads so often that I don't have time to get my hardcasts in to consume my Lunar or Solar Empowerment procs, but I need Starfall up. But if I need Starfall up, why would I cast Starfall when I could cast Star Surge, which will get both Star Surge and Starfall damage, right? So yeah.
It's the best of both worlds. It sounds like it was. It's gonna be a fun tier, and you're probably gonna really miss it when it's gone.
That it's really where all of our gameplay from this tier comes in, is just our trinkets. Like last year, it was all in our set bonuses, and this year it's all in our trinkets.
Alrighty, Archimond Trinket, Elemental Shaman, Micro. I'm sure this is like almost the same situation that Val might be in. It's kind of overly situational, yeah.
Yeah, not really though. In reality, the Archimond Trinket would be our biz to use on every fight. However, when you use the Archimond Trinket, it forces you to use Elemental Fusion as your tier 100 talent.
Right.
And on AoE fights, obviously you want the Liquid Magma to do AoE damage. So like you have to use the Archimond Trinket on fights where there is no AoE. Because then you can obviously use the Elemental Fusion. So you would use it on single target fights and fights like Council, Tyrant, where there's 2 targets, but not like that much AoE. Fights such as Iskar, Solarak or something, you would use Liquid Magma, and therefore you wouldn't play with the Archimond Trinket, because you need Elemental Fusion. But yeah, the Archimond Trinket is straight out insane. It does practically the same amount of damage as my Lava Burst does.
Wow.
So like if you look at my breakdown after a pull, you will see that the Flame Shock and Lava Burst does pretty much the same damage. So yeah, it's definitely really good, but unfortunately you can't use it on every fight.
Right. No, I mean, I understand. That's good. As we have a lot of options right now in Trinkets, and now we're going to get into the next 4 of them for casters. A lot of Trinket use, I'm sure, for as you're gearing up or as you're playing in HFC, is that you guys want to kind of wait for when you have them all eventually, and you kind of take what you can get first. So, like, I still don't have a Bladestorm Trinket. The Blade Master Bladestorm, I don't have one yet still. So people always ask me in my stream, like, why don't you, like, overly AoE scumbagging with both Soul Capacitor and Black? I don't have one. So you can't play something you don't have. But you have a similar situation now with the caster trinkets, that you have the stat stick, like, and then 3, a stat stick, a proc trinket, and like 2 interactive ones, I suppose. So I'll go back to you, Micro. Is is Doomnova everything for Elemental, or does the Gaze of Seath see things, or is Desecrated Shadow Moon Insignia good? Like what's the breakdown for those?
Yeah, the Gaze of Seath you're going to use on literally every fight.
Oh wow.
It does really good single target damage. If you look at my breakdown there, it can go up to 6% of my single target damage, just the proc. AoE damage, sometimes it can be as high as 8-9%. So you're going to use that on every fight. The other 2 trinkets you really want are obviously the Archimond Trinket and what's it called? The Council Trinket?
The Prophecy of Fear? Doomnova? Or no, you want Desecrated Shadow Moon Insignia.
Yeah, that one, exactly. Prophecy of Fear, like Elemental Shamans, we don't really have that burst we can pop into the Fear to make it be worth using it. Arcane Mages, for example, they have their Arcane Missiles, so they can get a lot of direct damage in. However, on the PTR, you know, Elemental Shaman's Mastery, we every time we do damage, we have a chance to proc. Yeah, our Mastery, it procs.
You have an auto attack, basically. A ranged auto
yeah.
attack. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which causes like 3, 4, 5 stones to go into the target, and that actually counted as direct damage in order to proc the Prophecy of Fear at first. But they nerfed it once they released the patch, and like now it's almost completely useless.
Oh no! So only your lightning bolt hits or chain lightning initial hits or lava burst will actually proc the Doomnova effect.
Yeah, exactly. So like in reality, I would get in without the 2-step proc. If I just cast lightning bolt or lava burst, I would get max 5, 6 hits in, which isn't really worth it.
That's not very many. I mean, compared to like an arcane mage, it'll get like 15 hits.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, the unblinking gaze of Seath. We don't see the spell effect. Does it look cool? Because I've never seen it before. Because we don't see that spell effect as not.
There is a spell effect. It's like this little black dot that like poof.
Is
like,
it? That's it?
Yeah. There's this little black shitty dot that flies from your character towards the mobs. But like you have to really know where that it is there to actually see it, because it's so fast and it's so tiny. So
interesting, because the way it reads is like basically an eye laser.
Yeah, no.
But it's not as cool as the demon eye laser.
It's not as cool.
Not as cool. Darn. So then, the trinket stuff for you, Bologna. Here we go. Here's your time to shine, sir. Go for it.
Oh. All right. So back, I had a very similar situation, or we did, as LA Shamans, where on PTR I found out that Prophecy of Fear, it didn't trigger off Starfall, right? I think going into the trinket they realized that would probably be a bad idea.
Maybe.
So Starfall didn't proc it, and Moonfire didn't proc it. The instant damage of Moonfire, they didn't want that to count as a direct hit. And I decided that I wanted to mess around with that, and I put in the Glyph of the Solstice, so I had Sunfall instead of Starfall. And I realized that procced it, and they didn't nerf it going into, even though I submitted a bug report. And about 3 weeks or so into Hellfire, they actually finally got around to nerfing it. So that trinket got nerfed into the ground. So that is our worst trinket this tier.
So no Doomnova for the Moonkin.
Yeah, it's worse by like a sizable margin.
Damn. So which two then would you bounce back and forth? Do you have the same options?
So I would pick DSI and Archimon Trinket.
Okay. No unblinking gaze of Seath?
Right. If I had to pick a third for progression, which you don't get to choose.
Sure.
I would pick Unblinking Gaze of Seath, and then after that the Piston, or like Alchemy Trinket, or Inscription Trinket. Again, some of that's fight dependent because of the proc.
Now, for the one fight that no one can use Doomnova, for example, because of the mythic Gorefriend fight, you can't use Doomnova because it'll break the ghosts. I've heard that like certain classes have an option to like use the other one. So would you is that the only case for the Feral Reaver and Piston, because it always technically is bonusing you because it's a stat stick? It's the only time I ever really hear casters using that trinket, right? Is that about?
Could I add a caveat to that?
Yeah. No. Yes. Of course you can.
So, like, if Doomnova is what's killing your ads, you could just not stack your ads in melee.
No,
which
that's
seems weird, but
totally true.
Yeah, but then you can't have like a DK on them.
Sure.
You know.
Exactly.
I think that's the only problem with that.
No, absolutely. I mean, but you're not wrong. I think for most people killing Mythic Gorfiend, though, it's always like the melee area cone. And because Gorfiend's hitbox is so large, and because Doomnova procs off of hitbox edge, it hits like the whole damn room. So Yeah,
I'm killing them in Project Casual raid right now. I do all the damage to them, and our warrior executes them.
Ooh, so you just get to multi-dot all of them up?
Yeah, kind of. Multi-dot with Starfall, and I Star Search high health targets, and
Very
I
nice.
slow all the ads running around the room.
So other trinket options that go with your Archimon Trinket for Shadow Priest, Val? What are your thoughts? What works for Shadow Priest?
What works for us, apart from the class trinket on Felrod, the lovely stat stick from Iron Reaver is
really
lovely. Yeah. It has a lot of crit and haste.
Oh.
What can we ask for? And then the gaze is the big one for us. Though it is the one we switch out and fell a lot, but primarily we use the stat stick and gaze. So yeah.
So still no Doomnova for Shadow Priest either, huh?
No Doomnova, because even though like in theory Mindflay and Alchemist are like the same mechanical thing, they changed Mindflay to work as a dot.
Right.
So it doesn't proc it. So if we would have to like proc it, we would have to like either spam Shadow Pain.
Ugh.
Or cast Mind Spikes into a target with dots, and we don't want to do that.
Well, that makes me wonder. So could like Clarity of Power Shadow Priest make use of Doomnova because you would just be spamming actual spells, or would that still not be very good?
Not really, because you're still not getting the same amount of hits in as an Archimage is doing. So
that's really weird. I guess because I would think that Mindflay ticks, each tick would count as a spell hit for it, but obviously not.
Yeah, but since they changed it in Kata to making it count as a dot, it doesn't. Sad.
That's strange. I get there's a lot of. I mean, there's even inner balancing on the Prophecy of Fear trinket where it's like different grades of power for multiple different specs.
It's the same for the gaze. It has like different proc efficiency for
right.
Like because it scales with shadow form as well. So.
Ooh, your shadow form damage bonus affects it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's done that for like expansions on expansion. So every single time there's a shadow damage trinket, shadow form boosts it. Nice.
I always wonder if those are intentional or like oversights.
At this point, I doubt it's oversight.
Right. So that they have that like in. I mean, right now with tier 18, everything's balanced around set bonuses and trinkets anyway. So I guess that is a thing.
Yeah.
So, So I guess that puts a really even use of different trinkets. I guess Prophecy of Fear is really only good, I guess, for warlocks and mages, and really only one warlock spec. Huh. Yeah. Strange. I thought it would be more people using Doomnova, but really I guess it's just mages and a little bit of warlock action. Well, now we come to it. We're going to talk about some oranges. So, Nithramas, the All-Seer, is your legendary ring. So I want to know how impactful this ring is and how interactive it is with each of your specs and how you can get the best use out of it and how it feels from your point of view. So we'll go back around the table in the opposite direction again. So Val, we'll go with Shadow Priest first. So how is Nithramas for Shadow Priests?
It's kind of boring. Especially considering we don't have any cooldowns to like dump damage into it. So unless you start out with 5 orbs, or you're able to like bank orbs going into a new use of it, you don't really do a lot of damage compared to anyone else. The only like semi cooldown you could like say we can pop into it is Power Infusion on Fellord.
Ugh.
But that's just haste, and like haste is not that much increase for cop, so it's very minor what we get from it. Like I think usually on the pulse, like when it explodes and I see my fancy big number, it's like average 260k I guess I get from it. Right. So it's not a lot.
Do you get more benefit on fights? How does it absorb all the damage you do if you can like cross dot a lot and all your auspicious spirits go off and stuff? I guess it's really RNG oriented.
Yeah, so on a fight, if we go back to 17, like take Blast Furnace, like when we just like pump DP and DP into the heart in the last phase, it'll be really good for that because like we just feed off of like all the elementals like Shadow Pain and getting the orbs from that, just blowing orbs into it. DPs into it. That it would be really good there because we can actually front load a lot of stuff into it. But apart from that, there's no really fancy way to use it.
Yeah, it seems like it's not incredibly beneficial for Shadow Priest.
No,
I guess you kind of like it pops up and you get to do 28 or 29% or whatever your ring is at right now bonus damage, and then like the quarter reflection part, you're just like okay.
Yeah, it's pretty sad because like Shadow Fiend and Mindbender, you don't even have to like think about it going into the ring because they're always up. Yeah. So
it does copy the damage from your Mindbender or Shadow Fiend properly, though, right? There was obviously a lot of back and forth with different classes, pets, and guardians not working properly, but it works well.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as I know, it does.
Alrighty. Boomkins now, Bologna. You have like one trinket, but it's only like a one cooldown on a 3-minute window. Both your cooldown 3-minute windows. So how do you handle Nithramas?
You complain to your guild on Tyrant Valhari until they actually hold the ring for your 3 minutes. And then they don't do it anyways.
I'm in the same boat, buddy. I feel you. But so how do you get the best use out of your orange ring?
Well, it's kind of perfect. Like for us, we've always been very burst oriented, and Celestial Alignment and the ring have the same duration. So pretty much however much damage you can pump out on pull with Celestial Alignment is what you do during that trinket proc. So our rotation is like you Star Surge, and then you cast 2 Starfires, and then you Star Surge and cast 2 Starfires, right?
Yeah.
If you're getting a lot of Star Surge procs, I actually just dump all of my Star Surges on pull in my Celestial Alignment now. Like I Star Surge, Starfire, Starfire, and then I cast like 4 Star Surges in a row to get all. Nice. Well, because it's increased by 25%, and then you have that's the most amount of damage you can do in the 15 seconds, right?
Right.
So,
I mean,
so why not?
Right now, I think this reset, I'll be at 30%, but I think.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's, if you look at it like a flat damage increase, which is how guilds, depending on the fight you're working on, work out the either like on pull and then 2, 4, 6, 8, or the on pull 3, 5, 7, 9 rotation of the ring. Mostly, it just comes down to getting as many uses out in every fight as possible.
Well, we've started like changing up how we utilize the ring. I think on Sokrathar we just straight up don't use the ring, and we preemptively use it by like 10 seconds for 12 seconds when the Dominator is about to spawn. Oh. The Dominator spawns, we pull it out, and the ring like one-shots the Dominator.
Nice.
And so we just never have to deal with that mechanic, and like you like can't mess up the one-phase strat anymore.
Yeah, and that's sort of the stuff that didn't exist for the World First Progression race.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like a different game we're playing now. All these different like weird, or like the scumbag strats on Iskar where you AoE the poop out of all the ads, and then you blow up the ring into the boss.
Oh yeah, we've actually been popping ring once he comes down and just ignoring the chains mechanic. You just kill the Mm-hmm.
Of course. Yep. That's how I think everyone's killing Mythic Iskar now. Yep.
Yeah.
Elemental Shaman Micro was quote-unquote buffed, as I'm air quoting right quick here, to work better with the ring, but how did it work out?
It's working out really great if you are using Elemental Mastery. And that is, you cannot really use Elemental Mastery in every fight, because on AoE fights you need double Earthquake, of course. Earthquake, yeah.
Of course.
So on single target fights, I'm obviously going, like single target burst fights, I'm going to use Elemental Mastery, and Ascendance got a buff, so it's 2 minutes now for Elemental Shamans. So we can actually pop 2 really big cooldowns into the ring together with the ring. So like with Bloodlust, we can blow up for around 1 million damage. But that is, as I said, only on single target fights, such as, I use Elemental Mastery on Iron Reaver, I use it on Gorefiend, we use it on Fellow Shacoon, we use it on Tyrant Valhari, we're going to use it on Killrogue Deadeye, if we're going down. So yeah, the damage can be really, really, really good for the ring if we're using Elemental Mastery. But yeah, that kind of differs from fight to fight.
Sure.
But yeah, the Ascendance buff is really huge as well. The 2 minute one, so we can actually I think I blow up for around 400 to 500k with only Ascendance.
Now is that it comes down to a very niche point, because really to get the best use of Lava Beam you need to be hitting multiple targets.
Yeah.
So I assume it can work well in certain situations, but a lot of the time, like Elemental's pure single target is kind of, like, that's why you take EM, right? You kind of like circumnavigate that weakness, and you really come down to that one moment where you can do a lot of damage every 2 minutes. So I guess it works. Is it? it's not hindering at all. So it worked out okay.
Yeah. It works really good, but before the buff, I would say that Elemental Shamans were bottom tier in terms of single target DPS. But now after the buff, okay, sorry, okay, Shadow
Sorry.
Priest as well.
Yeah.
But now I would actually say we're kind of mid slash maybe on the edge top tier, because as you said, we can really burst down on those 2-second marks. We can really do a lot of burst.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, 2 minutes, sorry.
2 minute, yeah, 2 minute. When the Ascendance change for Elemental came through as a salty element enhancement shaman, I was like, why did Elemental get this but not enhancement? Because it's like the same thing, even though Ascendance for enhancement is literally like not that good anyway. So it was weird because we're the same boat now. Comes down to like, if I can AoE scumbag like on Cormrock, I've got, it's called the wet dream as I put it, but the soul capacitor into the ring from the hand scumbagging damage. I mean, I've took off like 4% of the boss's HP before. Like, it's ridiculous. It's stupid big. But I mean, like that, a Demonology Warlock can do that too. So can an Arms Warrior. So it's not like only I can do that, but that's like the only one time it really feels that impactful. But I only get 2 lined up ring uses for me, and Blody's in like the same ish boat as I am. So it's weird what classes really get to like streamline that 2-minute cooldown. I don't know. It's a weird point. I think a lot of it comes down to now that guilds just find ways to like break fights, like what Bologna said about Socrathar, what I said about Iskar, which is there any ways to break Manaroth and Archimon you want to like share with us? Micro, you want to get that info? You want to for the class? Anyone?
Yeah, like I wouldn't say we use the ring to the fullest in terms of ignoring like game mechanics, as Bologna said before. For example, bursting down the Dominator. But like I feel like the earlier bosses we are just popping it on cooldown whenever, just because of just because we can. But when it comes to Archimon and Manaroth, we are Manaroth we are using it. Like, it's super weird on Manaroth because now when we have a lot of gear, we kind of had to wait around 40 seconds in phase 1 because we do not want to push it really.
Because of raid cooldowns?
What?
Because of raid cooldowns? You don't want to push the fight too fast?
No, not the raid cooldowns. It all comes down to the Mark of Legion.
Gosh, okay.
Yeah, we don't really want to transition with a Doomguard up, so... But yeah, Manaroth, we are using them on pull, we're using it in the second phase, and then once again in the third phase. So we're not really using it on cooldown then, we're using it when we really need to burst down something. Manaroth, we are using it to burst down the Death Colors in the beginning.
Okay.
Used to, at least. And also the Doomfires. Today, when we killed it, just before I got into the show, we actually tried a different tactic, where we use it on pull instead of using Bloodlust on pull, and that actually worked out really well. So this tactic we're running now, we're actually using it on cooldown and not really focusing too much on bursting down the Death Colors.
Yeah.
Interesting. Bologna, what you got?
Yeah, for first kills, like ring usage on those later fights is really important. I know we had like a DPS cooldown rotation for the Infernals in phase 3 on Archimond. So the first 2 are kind of whatever. It's only 3 of them. It's that they're pretty easy to deal with 3 Infernals. But so for Infernal set 3, I think we used Ring. For Infernal set 4, it was Minkin cooldowns, and then for Infernal set 5, it was Lust. So, a Ring usage can like really change how you deal with a fight.
No, it is a giant macro cooldown for your entire raid. I mean, it totally is. Even if you're not like lining up tons of cooldowns into it, it's still a 25 or more % flat damage increase for everyone doing damage.
Yeah, it's like potions were like what 15% of a DPS increase at the start of the expansion. I think now they're like 10.
Yeah, a little lower now,
yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's like they're 25% is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go back around one more time with talents in case we missed anything. Did you want to add anything for after we get all that out of the way for anything Shadow Priest oriented? We kind of touched on that in the beginning of the show, but I have the catch-up here for talent stuff.
No, I think we went over everything in the start pretty much.
Right. So I put in here, is Mindbender like a set and forget talent? And you said it's not necessarily set and forget, right?
No, like sometimes there's merit to using insanity, but like the life of Search of Darkness is over for now at least. It's sad.
How
But,
about,
you know?
it's sad. Is for 75 and 90s, has that have any wiggle room right now? I mean, what is it still Twist of Fate?
Twist of Fate and most like you use Power Infusion and Fell Lord because you play COP, but that's about it. You use Twist of Fate and everything else pretty much. For 90s, Cascade and pretty much everything except Cromrock, because you have the fancy way of Halo working on the hands there with the beautiful spell animation going off like years before the hand spawn. But yeah.
So I mean, like Cascade even on like single target, you wouldn't take Cascade or Halo on single target oriented fights. Cascade is still just better still.
Well, Fellot is pretty much the only single target fight, so
right. That's true.
And that's where you use Halo.
Void Entropy
well
is and then Void Entropy is still dead.
Void Entropy is it's not gonna live unless they redesign it. Like even now that they're buffing DP, like in 622, like taking it even further down because you'd rather spend the orbs and DP than Bend. So
yeah.
But
Clarity of Power is getting stronger though with 6.22. So
it is, as we went over earlier. It's gonna be viable on the Condor, probably Iron Reaver. For sure, it's gonna do a lot on Fellord, and to some extent, you could probably play it on Archimand as well.
Now, the one thing about COP right now is the dot weaving rotation, but you told me at the beginning of the show that because of the buffs, you might actually not dot weave anymore. It'll just be literally just Mind Spikes and Mind Blasts like all day.
Since they're buffing Mind Spike by 20% as well as everything else by 20%, you get more damage from just Mind Spiking instead of having to dot weave.
Interesting.
And then, of course, you fill like the time of DP with the Mind Flay, which is also buffed by 20%. So
right. So I guess that's gonna feel. Are you? I said I jokingly said it before. Like it only took them the whole expansion to kill dot weaving as a thing that became something because of Clarity of Power. Because originally it was supposed to be just like you actually just cast hard spells. You didn't actually weave dots. That was the thing that the community found and made up and created. Yes. But with the 6.22, if you want to play Shadow Priest, you could play Clarity of Power and actually just cast spells and not worry about crazy weird dots.
Pretty much. And then when you have DP up, you just Mind Flay and fill with Mind Blast.
Right. That still works, but you're not
pretty standard.
You're not VT and Shadow Word pain spamming everything.
No, not at all.
Interesting. Oh, we'll see how that works out. How about Boomkin stuff? Wrap up with me. Talent stuff. Bologna. Anything you want to go over again? You said other things.
Oh, what do you mean? Other like other tiers?
Changes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh well, there weren't any changes. I guess I can credit Naguro a little bit by saying she started using Fairy Swarm on Archimand, and then I was like, huh, where else can I use this talent? It doesn't seem that bad because it doesn't have a directional requirement.
Okay.
So. Yeah, Fairy Swarm's really good. Ursula's Vortex is really good. I take Mighty Bash for Archimand, so you can stun the Infernals in Phase 3.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they melee for a lot.
I guess the one question I wanted to ask, too, about Nature's Vigil, does having, like... I guess it doesn't really matter, because it's only single target-oriented damage. But with the bonus to have, like, more opportunities to spam Star Surge, does that sort of make Nature's Vigil a little bit better for Moonkin? I guess it's kind of still like a really heal.
I've noticed Nature's Vigil. You said it was single target. I'm not 100% sure. Like it says it on the tooltip, but I'm still not convinced that it's actually single target.
Like only single target?
Well, I've found myself out in the world doing like Tanan dailies, and I will just you can like Skull the Mad Chief and Starfall at the same time. So I will just pull up. I will just pull a whole zone,
right.
and you stack it all up, and you pop Nature's Vigil, and then you artillery strike, and you'll like your health will spike from 10% to full every global.
Yeah.
So I don't know how Nature's Vigil, like, if it's sincere when it says only single target damage, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
But a lot of times when you pop Nature's Vigil, you're popping your cooldowns too. So it's a pretty decent raid cooldown, kind of. When you look at something like Gorefiend, for example, Nature's Vigil is pretty strong there.
Right. And then what about? It's in the notes, and I have to ask you: is Stellar Flare still dead?
Yeah, unfortunately, Stellar Flare is still dead. I plan on using it on Hellfire High Council at some point, just because. Although Cyrus and I did kind of go through the more inner workings of Stellar Flare. Stellar Flare is like, it reads as though you want to apply it at the dead center of your Eclipse bar, but if you were to apply it at peak, it's doing like 85% or 90% of its potential instacast damage, and then the ticking damage doesn't matter because it does the same ticking damage the entire bar. So if you play Stellar Flare for whatever reason, just apply it whenever it falls off. I guess that's the TLDR of that.
It's a little bit awkward because it's not intuitive for the talent tooltip.
Yeah, it's a very awkward timer too. It's like a 20-second or 24-second timer.
24-second dot, yeah.
Yeah, and Eclipse when you take it is 40 seconds, so it's kind of.
You're not all the way back on one rotation yet. You have to, it's weird.
Yeah.
So, all right, Micro, wrap us up with some elemental stuff, sir.
So yeah, I am actually surprisingly like swapping the talents over and over and over again, because you can't really use the same talents on like a single boss. You have to swap them up.
Yep.
So yeah, as I said in the beginning, you need Echo of the Elements in order to do AoE damage.
Of course.
But that kind of differs as well with your raid composition and other stuff. For example, on Cormrock, there is AoE on the hands, yeah? Mm-hmm. But there is not really worth using Echo of the Elements because of if you have a raid composition that allows you to do double earthquake.
Probably doing it wrong.
Yeah. Then it's worth using, but most raid compositions doesn't look at that. You will have a warrior, you will have a warlock, you will have a lot of AoE bursts, yeah? So I can't really say that you will use it on like every AoE fight. Cormrock is an example, and I can't really say that you're not going to use it on every fight that's not AoE either. That's not AoE either. For example, on Council, I'm going to use Echo of the Elements without AoE, just because you need to maintain 3 fully buffed dots.
Right.
Which I'm running the class trinket there, and therefore I need to use elemental fusion because I'm running the class trinket, and there is super hard to maintain 3 fully buffed dots without Echo of the Elements. So that's a fight I'm using Echo of the Elements on as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, mainly you're going to swap between Echo of the Elements and elemental fusion. As said before,
Elemental mastery.
Oh yeah, Elemental Mastery. Sorry.
Right.
As I said before, it's more for single target burst fights. I already mentioned the bosses. When it comes to the tier 90 talent, it's pretty unfortunate that you're never going to use Unleash Fury or the Elemental Blast. You're actually going to stick to the Primal Elemental list full time. Like the way I kind of do it is I like to ask myself, will I be using Chain Lightning on the fight? If so, I'm going to use Primal Elementalist because you won't get enough value from Unleash Fury. And also, if there is a burst fight, you won't get enough value from Unleash Fury either. For example, Fellow Tycoon is a really short fight. It's like 3 minutes 30 something, I think.
Just under 4 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. It's a really short fight, and you have to press Unleash Fury on cooldown, which you don't like. You can't really do it when you play with Elemental Fusion either, because you need to like you have to maintain your dot, and like sometimes it can be really awkward to press the Elemental Fury. because it will proc the 15-second cooldown of Unleash Frame.
Right.
But yeah, back to Primal Elementalist. On Primal Elementalist, you're going to use some really short fights as well because it beats Unleash Fury in damage as well. Tier 100 talents though. Like surprisingly, I actually used the Storm Elemental Totem on one fight, and yeah. I actually used it on Felor Shakun progression. Because we have. Yeah, not anymore though because the flat damage from my class trinket is like it's way better.
Yep.
But yeah, I used it there in the final phase because we needed the burst in the end, and it did like really good damage. But like if you wanna check the damage overall, I didn't really do that well. But in the last phase, I was close to the top. But like other than that, you're going to choose Elemental Fusion or Liquid Magma on. You're going to swap between them pretty much. Liquid Magma on AoE fights. Actually, every AoE fight there is, you're going to use it on Manarot, you're going to use it on Solrock, you're going to use it on Iskar, you're using it on... Here's the thing, you're going to use it on Killrog only if you go down as well here.
Yep.
To kill the ads down there really quick, and finally you're going to use it on the first boss as well. Other than that, it's just Elemental Fusion all the way.
Yeah, no, Fusion became way too powerful, and it's weird because it got sneakily buffed for enhancement in the same regard, because now we can spread the 120% unleashed Flame Shock double infusion, which during beta I remember being told that would be too OP. So it really isn't even that good. It's like, okay, it's all right, I guess, but it wasn't that amazing. But at least it has come to fruition in that regard. So yeah, it's weird. You get a little bit of leeway for your talents there, but at least none of you were like, this is the only talent layout you can take, and that's all you do for the entire raid. At least there's good moving around of talents for all three of you.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like with the trinkets, you have to swap them in between the fights to really like maintain your high damage. Like there is nothing that beats the like something in terms of talents on every fight.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
Yeah. And talking about the tier 30 talents, I think it's you have a Windwalk. If I'm not.
You wanna
yeah. It's the tier 30 talents, if I'm not too wrong here. Right. That one is actually really good. You're going to use it on obviously every boss, but it won't really like do purpose except on a few bosses. For example, on Manarot, we don't really have any druids in our main team, which is pretty unfortunate. So we're kind of forced to use 2 shamans, like in our Manarot setup, just to like overcome the gazes and the what's it called, the shadow pushback thing.
Yep.
In phase 3. As well on Gorfind, it's like I think it's bugged out. When you put down your Windwalk totem, it will obviously immune you from getting slowed from the essences, but it will also remove like all damage taken from the essences, so you will become immune from like the actual damage it does, as well as getting slowed.
I don't know if it was coded that way. I know when people started finding that out, and that spread like wildfire, like Windwalk totem immunes the Shadow Volley. A lot of guilds have already killed Gorefriend by then, but it does make it kind of silly. It's kind of like I wonder back on like Malkorok when you used Roar to get rid of the debuff completely.
Yeah.
And I never know if that was intentional. Sometimes I'm always like, I don't know exactly. But yeah, it's a little bit of utility stuff there.
I'm pretty sure it's not intentional. It doesn't seem right to ignore all damage done by the essence.
Yeah. Anything else, gentlemen, before I bumper us in real quick? Good? All
Pretty
set?
good. I think we're good.
I think we're good. All right, chat room, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about some other communities and give you some announcements, stuff like that, and then we'll get into the Q&A section of the show, of course. Up first, if you have not heard of this little website in this little corner of the internet, then here's your chance now. icyveins.com, icy-veins.com is their URL. They cover all the World of Warcraft stuff, Hearthstone, Diablo 3, and Heroes. I'm sure they'll add Overwatch stuff here soon. But I think the biggest thing about their World of Warcraft coverage, they have lots of amazing guides written by really great people in the World of Warcraft community for every single class. All right here, tanking guides as well as healing guides as well. All kept up and updated. If people are wondering about like the Summonstone going down, there is an archive for Summonstone, but I think the next best place you can go is going to be Icy Veins. Additionally, of course, the really good thing here is the transmog library on Icy Veins is super good. You can go through here if you're looking for, I want to transmog something random. There are armor sets, then all the item models and where to find them all in the game. They have a really great white for that. If you're new to the game and you don't know how to handle your garrison to get it into that AFK farm mode status, then there's a whole lot of garrison write-ups as well. But that's a really good strength of Icy Veins if you guys want to go check them out online and give them a looky-loo. Additionally, of course, if you want to help, I know this pottery commercial chat room, I see it. If you want to help support FinalBossTV, anything that we do, of course, down below is our new awesome additions to our Designed by Human store. The Little Final Bosses by Fabelina, the Little Firelord, Arthur Sidragosa, and of course, Illidan is the brand newest one. Everything you purchase, t-shirts, tank tops, baseball, tees, hoodies, sweatshirts, phone cases, art prints, all goes to support FinalBossTV and keep us doing what we're doing right here. And we thank you if you buy a shirt. Here's a caveat: if you buy a shirt thing off the stuff, send me a picture with it, because duh. Okay, don't forget, chat room. And then of course, if you've missed any of our past episodes, they're all on our YouTube page. All of these episodes go up on our YouTube page, as well as extra side content and things, the coverage I did with Novel of Legion and the dev talk stuff. All the past episodes all go up on our YouTube. They're all playlisted all individually. We're also on iTunes as well as Stitcher if you want to listen to an audio-only version. And that, of course, is all still also found on our website. So you can find all that stuff archived for you there on the YouTubes. So thank you all for tuning in today. And if you have your questions, I think it's time to open the floodgates. Gentlemen, are you ready for the Q&A part?
So ready.
So ready? So you guys
Bring it on.
Bring it on. If you have questions for our guests about Shadow Priest, Elemental Shaman, or Balanced Druids, please feel free to hit me up on Twitter at FinalBossTV, or throw them up in chat, and we'll grab some as they come in. For the next little bit of time here, we got about 18 to 23 minutes or so. Yep, just let me know. I'm looking at chat right now. Oh, I have a question already for Shadow Priest. The Wizard want to know for Shadow Priest, are you guys happy being more of the consistent damage class, or do you think they held back by their lack of CDs? What do you think, Val?
I don't mind being the consistent when, like, back in BC and Wrath, when no one had like crazy cooldowns and everything wasn't centered about stacking everything at the same time. But now with like you stack everything into the ring with Lost and everything, it kind of feels, it's kind of sad seeing the meters, like especially on the pole when it just like you do the big mind blast. Maybe if you have a DP ready for the pole, then you see yourself like for the first 2 seconds, and then like the Moonkins, the Hunters, the Mages, they like spike like 100, 200, maybe 300k DPS, and you sit there, okay, I reached maybe 90k, and that was good.
Just kind of like, you can just take it as it is. It is weird though that not every class should have an execute, but I kind of feel like every class should have like a DPS cooldown, and Shadow Priest still doesn't. Legion, hopefully.
No, I don't have my hopes up high.
Yeah.
Because they claimed that Shadow Fiend is a cooldown.
Pardon?
They once claimed in a post somewhere that Shadow Fiend is a cooldown.
Maybe if you did more shadow damage or something like that when it was out, but it's just like I'm gonna slap this guy for mana return and do some damage.
Yeah, and it does nothing. Like it does like I compared it to Mage's mirror images once, and it did like 1/5 of the damage, I think. And it's like on a longer cooldown. It's like doesn't make any sense.
So 2 questions came from Twitter that are kind of the same. Ragervale asks to the Owl Master. I'm assuming that's Bologna. I don't know. Maybe. If you were to redesign the level 100 talents, what would you do to them? And one right after that is balance of power ever useful? And if so, how should it be done properly? Both about level 100 nonsense with Moonkin. What do you think, Bologna?
I'm going to answer those in reverse order.
Sure.
So I'm going to do the balance of power one first. I would only use balance of power for Hellfire High Council, and that's just because there's enough movement on the fight if you're in the soak group where reapplying dots is cool, and how to properly micromanage it. I would do something very similar to how you extended dots in MOP. So in MOP, it was never worth it to dot more than like 3 or 4 targets, but you would like alternate which mob you were casting Starfire, or Wrath, or Star Surge on, right? Because if you crit with your dots, you had a chance to extend it by 1 tick. Here, it's whenever you land one of your hard casts, it just auto-extends it for you, right? So I would alternate between 2 of them, between 2 of the mobs, and just reapply dots to one of them and the 2 that you're hard casting on every other eclipse.
Okay.
And for the other one,
right.
For the other, I would want to redesign Stellar Flare so that like Stellar Flare applied your 2 other dots when you casted Stellar Flare. I really like Euphoria, and to some extent I like Balance of Power. I like that one of them has your eclipse at a very short time and one has your eclipse at a very long time, at twice the duration, right?
Right.
But I don't know, you could probably even just do away with Stellar Flare and just put in a new talent that promotes multi-dotting in a more interesting way. I feel like Balance of Power was intended to be a single target. It was intended to be single target talent, but it just didn't work out that way because dot damage.
I guess from the outside in, I never know why, like, when you take Stellar Flare, you don't just, like, lose Moonfire or Sunfire, and you just only get Stellar Flare. It is as powerful as if you had both of those dots on one target, but it's only one key press, right?
Yeah.
It just seems like it's an extra dot, and it's, like, a slightly weird interaction with your balance bar, but not really. So it's just an extra DCD to put up an extra dot that doesn't line up with the same dot cooldown as your balance rotation, like
Right.
your Eclipse bar. It's just
Yeah,
like
it's the same duration as Sunfire, but I think the worst part about Stellar Flare is that it has a cast time, which just feels very clunky and awkward because our dots don't have cast times.
Yeah, it seems like if it's going to be a cast time dot, it should just make, like, it replaces Moonfire and or Sunfire, and it becomes like a superpowered version of either of those.
Right, but it does the same damage in Moonfire and Sunfire over the course of a fight, right? But it has a cast time, which is strange.
I don't know. It looks cool, but that's like the best thing going for it.
Yeah, the cast animation looks pretty sweet, because Moonfire and Sunfire calls down like a beam of blue or yellow light, and Stellar Flare is like giant white light 3 times the width.
Right. Like, if you guys have questions for our guests for Elemental Shaman, Bounce Druid, or Shadow Priest, you can hit them up on Twitter on FinalBossTV or put them in chat. So, there was a question earlier about what we guys are expecting or hoping for our artifacts. I don't really like tinfoil hat too often. Not everything has been obviously opened up for artifacts. Micro, what do you hope Elemental Shaman get? Because I get Doomhammer, but I hope you don't guys get like a dagger. That'd be kind of lame.
Yeah, I'm re-rolling, man. Doomhammer.
If you get a dagger,
Doomhammer.
Yeah. And I can't imagine you'll get a staff, because then the shield part of being an elemental is gone.
Probably going to get a mace.
Got another mace like I am.
Yeah, but like most probably I'm not going to play Elemental Shaman next expansion either. So.
Traitor.
Yeah.
Really?
Team Blue descending. No, but probably.
Just don't go Demon Hunter.
We know that obviously everybody wants to play Demon Hunter, so we're going to have some people in the guild respeccing, and probably grab a better class.
Well, I mean, we'll have to see all the balance changes coming out soon too, because the artifact weapons will probably change a lot, as well as we don't have all the balance changes yet, so we'll have to see what happens.
No, but yeah, I'm just definitely waiting for the beta, so I can really check out if Elemental Shamans will be viable, or if they're going to be pretty not so good again, you know. Because during the entire expansion here, they like the only time they kind of shined were back in Blackrock Foundry. They were pretty good, both single target and AoE. But yet they don't really bring anything to the raid. So why would you bring an Elemental Shaman when you can bring a mage? You know.
Yep, that's the weird situation with hybrids right now. Is that if you're bringing hybrids, even though they've kind of like tried to remove that connotation from hybrids, we should at least bring utility that is important, because if you don't need it, then you just bring a mage or a warlock or a hunter, right? And like, do you have any idea? You probably have a staff, Val, for your artifact, I assume.
Probably.
A staff. Yeah.
But like there's been some talks at least that we want to see like Benediction and a Thema back, but it's not that likely that we'll see it. So
I think it's cool enough.
Yeah, it is, but like the model would have to be updated for sure.
Of course.
Like, but no, I like it. I have it in my void storage. I transmog to it sometimes, just for the good of it.
Yeah.
I don't know how well Benediction would play into like Shadow Priest lore. I feel like that would be better for disc.
Well, I mean, each spec gets their own. I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
If do all three?
You click the button and it changes. You don't have to grind a new one up.
Oh God,
that would be a great perk for the priest class. You don't have to grind 2 artifacts up. You just have one and you click the button. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think Benediction or anything will stand up the test of the epicness of other artifacts. That kind of has to be like so-and-so's staff. Like, it has to be something bigger than that. Like, you kind of got to compare them all on this weird level. Even though, like, the Blood Death Knight axe or scythe just comes from a random new demon from the Burning Legion. So I guess, you know...
But no, it's good they keep it out, because like it gives some value to the people who actually farmed it back then and got it. Like with the hunter stuff, like staff and a bow.
We'll see. There's a lot of little things. What with Feral Druids was confirmed, Bologna, to have like form-altering skins based on their artifact.
Yeah.
So soft confirmation that the Thunder Turkey gets a new model and possibly different looks with their artifact too.
I
hope so for you guys.
It's a really cool idea. I'm sure being like an Astro Moonkin or like a Fire Moonkin would be really awesome. Yes. But there was a post on MMO, everyone like saying what they wanted out of an artifact weapon, and I would actually want Scythe of Elune. I feel like that would be really cool, so long as they like changed it to look different from the current scythes. And I really want my class hall to be in Emerald Dream. That'd be sick.
Not Moonglade.
Not Moonglade. Definitely. I mean, Moonglade is pretty cool and all, but
Moonglade would need something to be the new Druid class hall, because it's just
I've been able to teleport there forever. So
there's like 3 huts and a lake.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all that's there. So
yeah. Well, Warlocks get their own planet, so I don't see why we can't have the Emerald Dream.
Warlocks get everything cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they get part of their own planet. I'm pretty sure it'll like it's a little small area. They're not like a whole. They don't get like Tatooine to themselves.
No, it's gonna be a whole planet.
Oh, okay, a whole planet.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yep. I mean, hey, Shaman get a cave apparently.
It's an elegant cave. It's glorious.
An elegant cave.
Yeah, in the Maelstrom.
Yeah. Goodness. A lot's going to change. I wonder, because Blizzard hasn't decided yet if we're going to get new like talent choices at level 110, but I know there are like talent-ish abilities on our artifact weapons. So that's sort of like the new system. I don't think we need new talents. It's already enough for me to cover in these shows going forward. I don't need more stuff to have our guests like math out and figure out and have time to talk about, because there's too many things. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm still waiting for like questions that would work.
I'm on. Go ahead.
What's up? Oh, I had.
No. Yeah,
this is creepy on Twitter. Are there any stat breakpoints to reach for any of the 3 specs we have here on the show? Val?
100% crit.
Can you even do that?
100% crit and 50% haste, but that like you can't get that, so yeah.
Okay.
No, not for Shadow at least.
Bologna?
Crit would definitely fall off at 50% crit. And haste would fall off whenever you are GCD capped on Wrath or Starfire during cooldowns. But Mastery has no ceiling. Just slam Mastery. It'll always scale at the same rate.
Okay. Micro?
Yeah, not really at the moment in T18, but back in Blackrock Foundry when you had the Blackhand Trinket, you had a cap, you had a multi-strike cap at like 53 something, but not at the moment, no. You just go with as much multi-strike as you can, basically.
There's no, I guess to caveat that, or to ride that one, piggyback, there's no haste level you want to be like comfortable as Elemental Shaman? There's no like magic number?
Well, I have around 25% with a like 1.6 second cost. It's yeah, it's pretty good. I guess you wanna be above 20.
Okay.
So like if you're below that, you probably like yeah, not be able to burst as much. And yeah.
Okay. That was sort of a question that came up for Elemental Shaman in the same ways. How is the 4-piece of this tier compared to using off-piece items? But I guess when you went over it, you need the 4-piece though. Like you can't play without it.
Like the 4-piece on AoE is really good because you can maintain a 100% uptime on it. Just because you can chain light, and you get like 14 stacks from one chain lightning, so you will be able to maintain 100% uptime on it. But as far as it goes to like gameplay, like if you're gonna change your rotation just because the 4-set, as I said, you will cast on the burst, you will cast Earth Shock at the 12 and hope for a proc, so you will get your 4-piece proc. But other than that, it kind of comes naturally, you know.
Okay.
It's like you don't really have to worry about the 4-piece. It kind of built into the class. Whenever you do your Earth Shock, you will
Alrighty. We have time for another couple if they come in. Again, FinalBossTV on Twitter is the best place to do it because it's right there on my other monitor, of course. And just as a aside to this, if you ever send in questions on the Ask a Boss email, or the button down below, that is to help me make show notes. It's to make me aware of things people want to hear about that get built into show stuff. So that's what that is for. I don't use that for live shows. So, alrighty. What is that? You think Shadow Priest will be viable if they get Shadow Word Painfall? Oh, I think new guys been hating on Shadow Priest a little bit in chat. Like, I guess do Shadow Priests need Shadow Orbs, Val? Do you need a combo point system?
Do we need orbs? No, and you guys not hating. He's in Vanguard as well, so.
Nah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah. No, like they even like said, like Blizzard said that Shadow Orbs is not a good thing as it is now. So, but like this second incarnation of Shadow Orbs versus the first one, I don't know. I don't like the combo point system for Shadow. I liked it better when we could just spam DP on the primary target. So.
I mean, it had a cooldown back in the day, right?
Yeah, way back it did, but like in Cataclysm it didn't. You could like spam it, like when you were moving. Like Shadow Pain didn't have like on hit damage back then, so you just spam Devouring Plague when you were running.
Yeah, right.
So.
Yeah, the wasn't the interaction with Devouring Plague though is that it removed your other dots, right? Like it didn't. Well, you could have all of them at the same time.
Devouring Plague? Oh.
Yeah. No, I'm just confusing myself. Because it's. I guess Paladins sort of have the same feel about Holy Power. Is it literally uses a combo point system, just on yourself, and I don't think every class needs that, or they've felt a little bit flat or archaic or kind of weird. But I guess just having cooldowns is kind of flat and archaic and weird too. So there's one. Does Shadow Priest have a minimum crit value for Auspicious Spirits?
For multi-target fights, no. For single target, I would say around 25% is like the lower level where you don't want to go below if you want to play. Like hope for the RNG to help you out. Right, well, I think I'm like 35 rate buff or so right now.
Wow,
So, yeah.
35 crit? Jeez.
Yeah, like 25, I would say, is a good mark.
For a single target, though. But if you're
For single target.
cross-dotting,
you just go in with auspicious spirits. Like you can't even get super low crit anyways. Like if you go even for like haste, which is like the best, the second best secondary. So.
Okay. Well, here's a good question to end on. We'll go around the table with this one real quick from Leadfoot. What quality of life changes would you like to see made to your spec in Legion, assuming nothing else changes? We'll do reverse. Micro, do you have like a quality of life Elemental Shaman change for Legion?
Definitely want more mobility, and actually something to cast while I'm moving. You know, most classes, even you know, Boomkins, you know, they can cast something when they move, but I can't really do it. If I cast my Earthshock, I would waste the Fulmination stacks if they're not properly stacked up, and it also has a 6-second cooldown. So I would really love some mobility, as well as I don't know. I want the totems to be useful as well. Now we only have the Windwalk totem to be actually useful, but I would, want to see the totem coming back.
Micro, I have your answer for you. You ready for this? Frostshock.
Frostshock, yeah, hello. I actually used Frostshock during, I do it still during Gorefiend, just to slow the ads.
I mean, but you can't use Frostshock less on a willy-nilly if you're running Elemental Fusion, because you want to make sure you're using the either crazy Earthshock Fulmination or your Flame Shock. So yeah, I agree. I mean, Lightning Bolt on the move was a little bit too much, I wonder, but okay.
I would really like to see it coming back now. Like when you think about it, like Lightning Bolt doesn't really do a lot of damage. It's just a filler spell.
Filler spell, yeah.
Yeah.
Bologna?
Like it.
Oh, go ahead.
Now we're just gonna say it won't be a massive difference, but we will actually have something to do meanwhile we're moving.
Right, I get you. Bologna, what do you think? Quality of life for Boomkins? More glyphs of Flap?
I mean, Flap is just... You can never have enough Flap.
Okay, fair enough.
As far as... Was the question quality of life changes, or just something that I would want to see?
A QOL change for your class, your spec.
And I've been thinking about it, and I have not come up with anything good. I guess a lot of it comes down to fight design. Fight design is like, it's what makes or breaks a spec for a given tier. Like the reason Ellie Shamans weren't that good is because there weren't very many opportunities to chain lightning, correct? Like, I think I would want to see more multi-dotting fights. Something like remove was just so good, because there was a target swap, there was multi-dotting phases left and right. Someone actually just said it in chat, mushrooms. If mushrooms could be viable, I actually think I would be okay, but I wouldn't want 3 mushrooms, just 1 mushroom for an AoE, like preemptive AoE. I think that would be nice.
You mean, wait, why do you want mushrooms back? Why not have Hurricane?
I think I would like it a lot if like our mushroom, it was like a resto, the old resto one, where like, or if it was like prismatic crystal, so you drop a mushroom and you like hard cast into your mushroom to power it up, and then you can explode it later. I think that would be a really awesome change. I'm
getting terrible flashbacks of like, what if Teemo could power up his shrooms?
Yeah, I mean he can now, right? Didn't he just get buffed?
Didn't he just get buffed?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Possibly, but like, I don't know. I mean, would that be too similar to Prismatic Crystal in that regard? Like, if you could put your dots into the mushroom. We play in Plants vs Zombies in World of Warcraft right now. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Prismatic Crystal is kind of just like this. It's just kind of like this burst cooldown, and you do a lot of AoE damage there during that 15 seconds, or however long it is. But with Mushroom, if you could drop it during a lull phase, like during a portion of Manaroth, like he's transitioning, you know, in between phases or whatever, like you sit and you don't do anything. I think it's 14 seconds on pull on Mythic Manaroth where there are actually no mobs to hit. So if you could like power up a mushroom and then like explode it on the imps, I think that would be amazing. Kind of like what we did on Lei Shen. You would drop mushrooms preemptively and you would wait for them to get gripped and then you would blow up 3 mushrooms.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe bring mushrooms back. All right, that's the big takeaway from there.
Yeah.
Val, Shadow Priests.
Should remove the range requirement on the level 90 talents.
Remove the level 90 talents? Oh, the range
No,
requirements.
remove the range requirement, yes. So no matter, like, as long as you're within 40 yards, you do the same amount of damage. Because, like, it's so annoying that you have to, like, pray to your raid lead that you get placed in a proper spot when you have to, like, do, like, a pre-assigned position for, like, some bosses. Like, I have to stand at 25 yards, but guys, so please move away from me. I need to stand here to do max deeps. Just let me stand at 40 yards, do my thing, and it's good.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird thing. I mean, that mostly just comes down to the Halo problem, right?
Yes, but also, like, with Cascade, because, like, the damage is severely reduced if you're, like, all the way in melee.
Oh, because it needs to bounce.
Yeah, like, it gains power the longer it travels.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it grows in power with distance.
Yeah.
That is so awkward. I didn't know Cascade did that for... Wow, okay. I'm learning to... That's... So... Why? Okay, all right, fair enough. We'll just go Divine Star then.
Yeah, then you have to be, like, at 25.
Yeah, in the boss. Well, that's a pretty good quality of life, I guess.
It is.
Yeah. That sounds pretty good to me. Gentlemen, I think it's good to wrap on. You're all set? Thumbs up? We're going to go? I'm going to hit the button. I think we're at button time. All right, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in for episode number 93 of Final Boss TV, your Wild and Gay rating show. Thank you all for our amazing guests and for talking about Balanced Druids and Elemental Shamans and Shadow Priests. And around the table again, we'll go in reverse order for our amazing guests to go on the show today. First time on, there's Microloft. You can go follow him, or like, I guess, on his Facebook, Microloft HD. You get updates on when you're streaming and stuff like that, I assume, sir? On your Facebook?
Yeah, I post them. Like, I haven't really been that active now anymore because I kind of took a break from streaming.
Sure.
But now when I'm back to streaming, I'm going to start posting them on Facebook, and yeah, I stream nearly every raid. So if you have any questions, just tune in.
Yep, go bother him right there. Best place to follow him there. Thank you for being on the show, sir. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
And there's Bologna. You can go follow him on his new Twitter, Bologna MW on the end, and you can ask him about Thunder Turkey things. Thank you for being on the show again,
That's
sir.
right.
It was awesome.
Or Laser Chicken or whatever.
Laser Chicken or,
Yeah.
Boom Turkey or, all that good stuff. How many macros do you have flat glyphed into right now?
Believe it or not, it's bound at 2.
Only 2?
No. It's bound to my button 2.
Oh my god. Oh, that's even better.
Yeah. Like it's yeah.
Okay, I was like, only 2 buttons, but it's your actual 2 key.
Yeah. It's
Very
right there.
awesome. Thank you, sir. Awesome having you on the show again.
Thanks for having me.
And there's Val. You can go follow him on Twitter at Valiane or Valiane or Val-E-N-E or whatever. Or just Val.
However you want to pronounce it.
Yes, however you want to.
Like
You
it
can go
says
ask-
above the video.
Yes. Yep. But thank you for being on the show, sir. They can ask you questions on Twitter for Shadow Free stuff, I assume.
Or they can ask on the How to Breathe forums. I answer.
That's true, too. That is also very true. Those Shadow Free forums. Very good. Thank you for being on the show, sir. It was awesome. Thank your hair for being on the show today, too, by the way.
It is nice and objective.
Next week, everybody, we'll be talking with tanks. The goal is to have the avoidance, quote unquote, here we go, the avoidance tanks on next week, which will be Guardian Druid, Blood Death Knight, and Brewmaster Monk. I use the term air quotes avoidance because they don't have shields, even though like Guardian Druids have their face, I suppose. But if you have questions for those guests coming up on the show next week, more details on social media, of course, on who the guests will be. See you here for that one. And then after that episode will be healers, which I haven't decided which ones will be yet, so just wait. But thank you all for tuning in very much for behind the scenes at Final Boss TV. Thanks you greatly. We'll see you in the YouTube comments, see you on social media, and trust in your seal of inevitable Warforged gold. And on to next week, everybody. Bye! Wave bye, nice people. Bye, 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 bye. Wave bye, people. Micro. Wave bye. That's perfect. There we go.